you're a joke out there.
I guess fashion's changed.
Meet the biggest supermodel in the whole world is all.
Are you like a male model or a female model?
All is all.
There's no rest for the PC police. If only they channeled their seemingly unlimited energy into something useful. There's no telling what they would accomplish. Instead, they've decided Zoolander 2, the sequel to the Hollywood blockbuster Zoolander, is offensive. The social justice crusade has decided that Zoolander misrepresents non-binary individuals. They're mad that a non-transgendered person is playing a transgendered character. Obviously, these days, acting isn't acting anymore. It must be true to life or it's discrimination. And comedy? Well, that's just downright offensive. Joining me again today is a man I assure you fits all the necessary stereotypes and gender roles to fulfill his position in speaking with you today without repressing others who identify differently. I didn't tell him I was going to introduce him like that, but contributor to Red Alert Politics, Ryan Girdusky, is back with me now. Ryan, thanks for being here.
I am an angry white male. I guess I fit perfectly into my stereotype.
Exactly.
That's so great. Yeah, well, it doesn't pay to be a liberal when you're younger, because when you're older, it turns out you just are not liberal enough. And that's what Justin Theroux, Mr. Jennifer Aniston, who is the writer of Zoolander 2, is finding out. Social justice warriors are saying that the movie is transphobic because a non-binary character. These are things that I don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking about non-binary characters for fictional movies, but apparently some people do. And 22,000 people worldwide have signed a petition that they are going to boycott the movie because it is transphobic. And Justin Theroux has said his feelings are hurt by this because it's just satire, but social justice warriors don't care about comedy.
Right. Now, does humor not exist for them anymore? Clearly, this is a satirical movie.
I mean, could you imagine if Don Rickles was trying to become a comic now, or Joan Rivers when they were younger? They would have never made it. They would have been like protested everywhere because of being anti-PC. But that's the funniest thing. That's what comedy is.
Right. Now, in your opinion, what is the overall goal of these so-called social justice warriors? Sometimes I feel like they're just straight off an alien spaceship, and I'm like, oh, what do you want?
No, sometimes what the words and the concerns that they have, I think that they either they don't work or have a normal life, or there's a serious mental instability. Something is wrong with them when all you care about is cisgendered and non-binary and Black Lives Matter and it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And they're making rules now about what it means to be white, what it means to be a white ally. Before we even get into that, what the heck is a white ally?
A white ally is a white person who makes a career for themselves about hating being white because they are promoting systemic racism and institutional biases by the basis of which they were born. Mainly, they're born white. It's the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. It used to be called white.
So what, are there like two people out there that fit this description then? Who are white people trying to make a career out of this? Who are they even talking about?
Sean King, who writes for the Daily News, who is a white person who pretends to be black. And he constantly makes comments like, the only reason that white people like guns is because it's a phallic symbol and they have body issues. Or there's another guy named Sam White who's on MTV who goes to a black college, is a part of a black frat and has a black girlfriend, and makes a case that how he can communicate the black cause to white people. It's ridiculous. It is the most insane thing in the world. And really, and they constantly say this in the piece about what you are as being white is, oh, don't try to make a career out of this. Well, tons of white people do. You'll never see many black people who are on mainstream news talking about these issues. Always white liberals who do the job of a black person and take their media hits because that's what they're doing. It's all about self-promotion.
Right, and I was just going to say, it's also hypocritical because that's exactly what they want to do. I mean, the reason that they're protesting a movie that they're threatening to boycott, Zoolander 2, is to gain the fame because they know it's such a ridiculous idea that it's going to get media coverage. So they're actually saying, they're blaming people for doing the exact same thing they want to do. They just don't want any competition for it.
Right. No, it's exactly the truth. And there were 6 main things that they were talking about. One was about white allies should not be trying to make a career out of it. Another thing was that, don't pretend that you have the same experiences. So even if you've been arrested or been followed by a cop or been followed around in a store, and you're white, don't say you've done that because you really haven't had that experience.
Right,
Your
I read that. I
experience
read that too. In your article, they were saying don't try to relate to black people because there's just nothing you can do. We're victims for life because you have a racist advantage inherently, and so don't even try to relate.
Yeah, the conversation about race is not a journey; it's a guilt trip, and that's what they want to sit there and have a constant guilt trip about this. But yeah, they say one of the big things was, oh, you don't understand systemic racism because when you go for bandages, your Band-Aids look like your skin color. Well, okay,
when I wear a Band-Aid, I usually have a Snoopy or a Cinderella on it. It doesn't match my skin color.
Yeah, and I said, okay, what if you're in a full body cast? Can I tell if you? Because like, oh, white people, you can't tell when a white person has an injury. Well, what if they're in a full body cast? Yes, they can. And what if you're olive? Like I'm Mediterranean, I'm Sicilian. What if can you tell my skin color because I have a white Band-Aid on? It's preposterous, it's ridiculous, it's attention-seeking, and it's what people who have never had to sacrifice, like go to a war, or what our grandparents' generation never had to do, sit there and talk about.
Right. Now, in your opinion, do Democrats cater to this type of movement? Because it's so absurd. It's hard to even give it legitimacy. But do they cater to this type of movement, give them legitimacy because groups like this so easily will turn over their own rights, their own liberties to the government in order to gain what they believe is protection against having their feelings hurt?
Yeah, well, no, Democrats always do because they love the phantom menace of institutional racism. They can't find it anywhere, but they believe it is real. It's their own religion because they don't believe in God, so they believe in the phantom menace of racism. And they don't believe in rights, so especially not gun rights. And the only people you can make fun of are white Southerners, especially. They love to make fun of those people. So, they cater to them all the time. That's what happens on college campuses. And, there was a great article, and I think it was Slate a while back, and it was like, I'm a liberal college professor, and my students scare me to death. And, yeah, like, they scare us.
They would scare me, too, because they're clearly not based in anything logical. They're clearly based in hate, that same hatred that they accuse other people of. They want to oppress people in the way that they claim that they're being oppressed, which is ridiculous and hypocritical. Ryan, we are out of time, but I appreciate you coming on today. I'll talk to you next week. A clever and compelling way to motivate students to learn history and love it. More details on that next.